this movie that I can imagine.
But this is something like I thought about, like, 'cause I used to watch a lot of Michael Jackson music videos because I wanted to be cool like Michael Jackson.
Okay.
Right. And Michael Jackson in the Way You Make Me Feel music video, he is following around this pretty woman in a nice dress, and him and his friends are just crowding around this woman, and he's following her around, chasing her through cars, dancing on top of cars, basically circling this woman so that he could keep singing to her and dancing to her.
Okay.
And she eventually falls for him because he's Michael Jackson.
Okay. We in. What it do, big homies? Welcome to the Chris and Kyle Show.
Hey, people.
Hey, people. We are fresh off of a day of watching 2 epic Game 7s, watching an episode of Game of Thrones, which has us in our feelings right now, and we will be covering that show in its entirety next week.
2 weeks.
Yeah, next week.
Yeah.
So, like, this Thursday is our episode on Detective Pikachu.
Yes.
Next Thursday will be our Game of Thrones episode. So the feelings that we're feeling right now, we will transfer to that, hopefully. Depending on what happens next week, we'll see what happens. Who knows what's going to happen with this show. So to get ourselves out of our feelings right now and this sort of numbness we're feeling, kind of. Like,
I just say numbness.
I just feel not inspired. I feel that
Let's not talk
I'm
about
stuck.
it.
All right, let's talk about the Game 7s.
Because those were exciting as fuck.
They were crazy. What have we done to the basketball gods to deserve this? Is it that we've sat through a dynasty that everyone's mad about, so they said let's reward them with epic playoff games? I'm not mad about the dynasty, but like I still think it's fun. But like so many people are mad that they think the season doesn't even matter because I know who's gonna win, bro.
Now,
this is proof that that's not true.
Now,
All people who think that, shut up.
you want the Blazers to win against the Warriors, right?
The Blazers are my stand team. They're my bandwagon squad.
But you've been such a Warriors fan for a bit.
I wouldn't say I'm a Warriors fan. I just like watching them, and I like the players, and I think they're fun. So I don't get mad.
Like you're obviously a Miami Heat fan.
Yeah, that's what I think of when I think of fan.
That is your team, but you're a fan of the Warriors.
I'm a fan
of
but if
the
that's what
Warriors.
constitutes being a fan, I'm a fan of almost every team, except like the teams with nothing but scrubs and the Rockets. And there's people on the Rockets
I'm
I like.
I guess 5 teams that you're not a fan of.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Rockets, obviously, you just said that. Knicks.
Even the Knicks, I like have this, like I'm like, Mitchell Robinson's good. Like he could be good. I'm not gonna watch the Knicks.
Knicks. The Suns.
I don't hate the Suns. Like they got Devin Booker, they got DeAndre Ayton, they got young homies, but they're a joke.
So the Suns.
It's like funny.
And the Bulls. You care about the Bulls at all?
I like the Bulls. They're pretty cool. I liked them more when Derrick Rose was there. Just because that's like rooting. That was 4, by the way. You said 5. Like rooting for a person makes rooting for the team.
Too.
Oh, okay. The Celtics are on there for sure.
Oh yeah,
because I'm a Heat fan.
Exactly. Yeah. Like I should have.
Like I was glad that Kyrie went in there and went full on spy or something. Like double cross. He like went in there and ruined them.
Like double agent.
Yeah, he was like a secret agent.
Secret agent.
He infiltrated the Celtics and ruined them.
I was worried that that's what Boogie Cousins was going to do.
Yeah,
this
that's
year.
what most people hoped. Now it looks like he's going to come back for the conference finals. Him and KD.
All right, so we
that game, we got to talk about that game too.
Let's talk about
Reverse
the
order?
Game 7s first.
Reverse order?
What do you mean?
The last game that ended first. Sixers Raptors.
Yeah. Let's talk Sixers Raptors.
Sixers Raptors. Epic ending. Crazy game-winning shot from Kawhi.
I've said before that the Sixers are my second favorite team behind
you
the
love
Magic,
the Sixers.
especially with what happened last season.
And now you love them even more because they gave you Markelle. It's like a gift from their second favorite team.
In real life, I actually like them less because they don't have Markelle anymore.
Yeah.
And now I love the Magic more because now
they have
Markelle.
Markelle. Yeah.
So things just align with me that way. But I've already said before that this series between the Raptors and the Sixers, that I'm not sure who to root for because I do still have that affinity for the Sixers and I want them to win. Like if they were, I mean, even if they were going against the Bucks, I think I'd still root for them. I really
The
like
Bucks
the
were
Bucks.
mine.
I love
If
Giannis.
the Raptors today, if the Blazers had lost today and I had to pick a new
If they're
band,
against the Celtics, I would for sure be rooting for
Oh,
the
yeah.
Sixers.
if the Blazers had lost today and I had to pick a new bandwagon team, it would have been the Bucks. Because Giannis is so adorable.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and like I kind of have like a horse in the race with a few of these teams though, because like with the Bucks' success, it's sort of like
It's what John Hammond envisions for the Magic, so it's
Exactly.
like proof of it working.
exactly like this is hopefully this is our future laying out for.
Whereas the Sixers, you have the horse is Ben Simmons. You love Ben Simmons.
I love
and Jimmy
Simmons.
Butler.
I like Joel.
I love
I
Jimmy
like
Butler.
a lot of their. I like Toby. I like Bobby.
Yeah,
I like,
there's a lot of dudes on the team to
I like Brett Brown. I like the Sixers-ness, and plus I have.
Do you think Brett Brown's
an
gonna get
affinity
fired?
for Philly teams? Just
That's
because
true. Your
I
family
have,
has
my family has
Philly
Philly
roots.
ties.
Yeah. I always forget that. Like your
But-
brother's a huge
so
Phillies
there's
fan.
So there's that, but there's also like I want the Raptors to get as far
Because
as
they
they
beat the
can
Magic.
because they beat the Magic.
I don't.
You can say it's weak.
No, like I get
I like it.
It's whatever. I get that. It's kind of silly.
What if they win the ship, dude?
Then you lost the champs. You probably
I
still
hope
would
they
have.
win.
You could have probably played anyone in the top 4 and been knocked off in the first round. That's the thing. Probably.
That's fine.
Yeah.
But like it still bodes well for us if the team that did knock us out would be the championship team.
Kind of. Sure.
Kind of.
It's weak. It's
If
weak.
we won like a game. We took it to fucking 6 games.
15 more to go.
Exactly.
15 more games to go. But yeah, this game was amazing. Game 7, Sixers Raptors. Great game. Both games today, the home team went up early. The Sixers started off rough, shooting rough.
Both teams started.
They
off
did,
rough.
but it
And
just
the
didn't-
Sixers
yeah.
defense kept them in the game.
Yep, kept them in the game. And then late, Jimmy Butler took over because he wasn't even having that good a game. He just got it going late because that's what he does.
Did it bother you that like a lot of it did seem like there was like a lot of miscommunication, a lot of
Dude,
just,
their
like,
offense depleted. It was
mental
gone.
errors.
What was it? 3 or 4 minutes left. It seemed like they had the Raptors where they wanted them. The Sixers had the upper hand.
Yeah.
And the Raptors kept just missing shots they would normally take. It was Kawhi mid-range pull-ups. It was kickouts to the 3-point line. It was shots the Raptors are cool with, and they were just missing them. And the Sixers were playing great defense. They were contesting everything, and the Sixers were just collapsing on offense. It was
They were
bad.
getting in their own
They
way.
were just shot clock running out, turnovers
Twice. That happened twice.
in a row, and then another turnover led to a fast break
Yeah.
to Kyle Lowry. Just really bad offensive execution out of timeouts.
Yeah.
And these are the kinds of things that might lead to Brett Brown getting fired.
Right.
Because that was a rumor coming into today is that if he didn't win, he would be terminated. And
It's a raw deal, right?
it's a raw
I'd say
deal.
it's a
Just
raw
like
deal.
Dwayne Casey had a raw deal last year. And guess what? Nick Nurse hasn't gone farther than Dwayne Casey went yet. If anything, it's been harder for him to get here. And LeBron's not in the conference. Like, if they just get LeBron'd by Giannis next round, what does that mean? Do they fire Nick Nurse? And they're like,
Right.
well, you couldn't do it either. And you had you had Kawhi.
Yeah, I think that would be kind of silly. I think that like,
Be really silly.
I mean, who knows what Masai Ujiri is going to do? What's going to happen with him, with
This
head
is-
coach,
this is
with
my-
their roster?
This is my problem when you treat. I'm not saying you shouldn't strive to win a championship every season, but when your culture is championship or blow it up,
Yeah.
that seems insane to me.
right.
It just doesn't seem like
Especially with like somebody like the Raptors, because they have young pieces where they can just kind of do a mini reload.
Look at Siakam.
Like instead of rebuilding, reloading, right? Like you have Siakam, who's 25 years old. He's probably going to be an all-star next year with the way that he's playing. If he just improves a little bit more, like I could very easily see him
Yeah,
being an all-star
for sure.
next year.
Especially if Kawhi's gone and he gets more touches.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's like I don't know. It's a weird culture thing to me. Like it's rampant in NBA fan bases too. It's the tanking thing. It's like, oh, if we're not eligible for a championship, we need to lose every game because that will give us a better chance of quickly getting to a place where we might be able to contend for a championship.
Yeah, I've been
And it's
thinking
like,
about this a lot lately about like the default of falling into that tanking mode, and it's just it really bothers me because like I just feel like it's such a you have it's basically just an external development protocol that is overriding all of these other protocols that can improve your team. You know, whether it be internal development. Obviously, your internal development's gonna go to shit. You know, because like all of your players aren't actually playing meaningful games, and I think that's a really important thing, especially for young players' development. I think people underestimate the fuck out of that when it comes to tanking teams and being able to. And like when I think about, I know this might be an oversimplification here, but when I'm playing 2K, right, and I'm fucking doing my GM shit, right, and you take over a team that's mid-grade to bad or whatever, and you
always
instantly
it's the only fun
rebuild,
way to do it.
Right? When you tank, do you tank for more than 3 years?
Tank for 1 year.
You tank for
and
1
I
year,
simulate it
maybe 2,
because I can't stomach purposefully tanking.
I think I might have tanked for 3 years, like in one. Of
and
the
that's not even really like
that I've done in all of my years of playing. 2K.
I don't know if I've actually ever purposely tanked. I
Really?
think the only time I've ever like. I always simulate the first season just because I want to get to the off season in the draft. I don't want to play through the team that already exists.
Right.
But like on old versions of 2K, like the Magic Dynasty that I have, I immediately just traded for Rudy Gay. I never tanked. I just was like, give me Rudy Gay, and now I'm really good.
Right.
I have a young Victor Oladipo and Rudy Gay, and I'm going to kick ass. And I drafted like a beast. Traded for the number 1 or the number 2 pick.
Yeah. But like, but that's. The
but
thing.
like I accidentally tanked once with the Charlotte team because they lost a bunch.
When
of
you have
games.
these teams like the Magic this year, who haven't been to the playoffs in 7 years, and people are like,
there's value in
they
that.
should still suck this year, to get another draft pick. And it's like, well, how
at
long
what
are
at
we
what
going
point
to do this?
do you have too many cooks?
Yeah, well, yeah, do you have too many cooks? At what point do you like realize that like, okay, well, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result.
Well, and you can look at Phoenix as sort of a flagship of the bad side of tanking.
Yeah,
they're going to waste Devin Booker's career.
Yeah,
at this point, what is he, 24 now, something like that, and he's never won more than like 35 games or something like that. It's awful. Yeah. At what point does he just become someone who just expects to lose and gets his because of the culture that he's grown playing in? I'm not saying I think that's who Devin Booker is, but I wouldn't be surprised if his environment turns him into that.
Yeah, so
also,
the future,
I think that you have to, like, there's value to teams like the grit and grind Memphis Grizzlies. Teams like that are just constantly, like, they were never title contenders, but they're beloved by their fan bases because they always try their best, and there's value in that in sports teams.
I mean, and you could say, maybe before this year, we don't know what's going to happen, but the Trailblazers, like Portland, is kind of that kind of team.
Yeah, look, they could have easily blown it up last season.
Spurs, obviously,
it apparently took Damian Lillard appealing to the owner on Terry Stotts' behalf to not fire him.
Really?
I've heard that. Yeah, on behalf of Terry Stotts, and to keep it together. And look what they've done now. Swept by the Pelicans in the first round last year. Swept by a lower seeded Pelicans team to being in the Western Conference Finals. It's awesome. It's a great story.
That's pretty amazing.
But yeah, man. I thought when Jimmy Butler got that fast break and tied the game that we were going to overtime.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I
thought we were going to overtime. They'd been playing such good defense, and they played great defense on that final shot.
And I kind of spoiled it for myself, too, because I was going back and forth between the Raptors and the Sixers subreddits to see what they were saying, how they were reacting to stuff. And our feed was delayed a little bit. And I saw in the Raptors...
Were they just going
crazy?
While
Kawhi was shooting those free throws, the very top one just said, he missed ?
Yo, I said he was. I've read the future. I was like, miss it.
And I was like, oh no. And then he came up short on it, and then they just fucking sprinted
Jimmy
back.
went for it.
Yeah,
that's great. Yeah, I thought we were going to OT, but that was an amazing shot. Like Joel was in his face. He was falling out of bounds. It's crazy. Hit the rim 4 times.
So we brought up the whole Raw deal thing as far as Brett Brown, right? I would say that
if it happens, we don't 100%.
We don't know that it's going to happen, right? But I would say that it would be a Raw deal. I'm gonna bring up 2 different arguments here. My first one is it is a Raw deal because of the makeshift team of all-stars that they tried to fit together.
Didn't have enough time with them.
Didn't have enough time with them, right? Fucking the fit of trying to, and even like if you because there's like certain all-stars that you could just fit together and probably would be a better fit together even on that short amount of time, right? But it's tough when you have someone like Ben Simmons and Joel.
Having Ben Simmons, Joel, and Jimmy Butler all in the same lineup is hard.
Yeah,
all three of those dudes is hard.
It's a hard fit for anybody to try and make.
Yep. Even Ben and Joel themselves is hard to figure out.
Yeah. And even when you include somebody like Toby, right? Like Toby didn't shoot well in this series.
No, he didn't play well this series.
Like there's how much is Brett Brown really influencing, Toby missing
going
a
cold.
wide open corner three?
If anything, you credit him for the system that gets him the looks at the open three.
Yeah. On the other side of that, so I heard I'm not sure if it was Stan Van Gundy talking to Zach Lowe about this. But he was talking about how, like, his philosophy of coaching and how he thinks that the league and being a basketball coach is result oriented.
Yeah,
basically,
this was him. Yes.
Yeah, like.
But he can't be result oriented. He said he just understands that it is. I think was his.
So Zach Lowe brought up a situation
from when he was on the Magic.
And basically, like, he made a decision, and that decision ended up being like Big Baby had a wide open
shot. Yeah,
yeah, and Zach Lowe said like, do you regret making that decision or whatever? Like, and he was like, was that the wrong decision?
He asked him if it was wrong, and Stan said yes.
And Stan said
because he hit the shot.
Yes,
but I would do it again.
Yeah,
I would do the same thing every time.
Exactly,
because in terms of theory, it's the right decision. Ray Allen 3, Paul Pierce layup, Kevin Garnett shot, all those things you want less than a Big Baby mid-range jumper. Yeah. You want that every time.
Yeah, exactly.
He just happened to hit it.
Exactly.
And that's basketball.
And I feel like that kind of like mimics this sort of thing with Brett Brown, right? Yes, it's a raw deal. Does that raw deal justify he's still gonna get fucked. Is basically what I'm getting to there. Like it's kind of like the Dwayne Casey thing.
Yeah.
Of last year,
which I was surprised by because the amount that he changed that team. He did a good job on the Pistons this year too. I would not have guessed the Pistons would have made the playoffs in the preseason. Yeah, man.
It was still an amazing series, I think.
Oh, it's great.
Fucking incredible series.
Best second round ever, dude. Yeah. Best second round ever.
Yeah.
It came through.
At least right now, it seems like the Raptors making that room that move for Kawhi seems like it's paying off.
Yeah, but if he missed that shot and they lost in overtime, people wouldn't be saying that. And if they get, what if the Bucks sweep them?
Right.
I mean, there's a lot. Or what if they make it to the finals and the Warriors whoop their ass? Like, what does all of it mean? It's weird.
Do you think? Okay, so like obviously, if we talked about this before, like if they win a championship and Kawhi still leaves,
yeah, was it worth it? Yes,
and it's still worth it.
Yeah, because
right?
that's
you get to a championship.
Their mindset is championship or bust.
Right,
and so by that measure, it was worth it.
Right, and you could still reload with Pascal Siakam, whatever. Right. Now, if they get to the finals
and lose,
and
Kawhi, then he leaves,
and Kawhi leaves,
I think it's still worth it because that's farther than they've ever gone.
Yeah.
But if they had lost today, or if they lose badly to the Bucks, I don't know if it's worth it.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know if it's worth giving up because it's like that Grizzlies grit and grind thing. The Raptors used to have that. They have this strong connection with their fan base. They had players that they loved, right? DeMar DeRozan is the most popular player probably ever on the Raptors by Raptors fans. And they just sent him packing. They sent a Western Conference Finals coach packing. Or Eastern Conference Finals coach packing. So there's this. It changed this sort of perception of what they are, right? It sort of turned them into this sort of New York Yankees kind of thing, right? You know what I mean by that?
Really?
How like the Yankees are famous for always just kind of buying all the best players and just they pay to make the big run every year.
I think the Warriors are
at least what's
an example of that. But.
Sure, but I don't think of the Warriors that way because they got there before that. They got great before they had to do that.
True, yeah, it was
in-house. They did it in-house.
But
that's why I've always liked them.
But the additions of Kevin Durant and Boogie.
Boogie to a lesser extent because he barely played. And so it was more like we're doing this for you more than you're doing it for us.
It's only a lesser extent in retrospect. Because at the beginning of the season, everybody was like, what the fuck?
Well, it's insane. It's a completely insane thing that they could have a starting five of people who have all been in an all-star game. Mm-hmm. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And another one on the bench, and Andre Iguodala. And he's obviously different than when he was an All-Star. But yeah, it's nuts. But like the Boogie thing to me was much more the Warriors helping out Boogie than Boogie helping out the Warriors. Especially with the questions of how he would fit and if he would, if he was going to like ruin the team from the inside, all these kinds of things, which it turned out maybe Kevin Durant ended up doing.
I would agree with
that.
But
But doesn't actually seem like that.
But the idea of there being like an embarrassment
it's
of
just
riches
nuts. It's
is
just
closer
completely
to the
crazy.
Yankees,
Yeah, that's true. But I'm coming at it more of from like the mindset of what the Yankees
They took that sort of step.
Yeah.
Of like sort of betraying one of their own in order to get someone of a higher caliber.
Yep. Meanwhile, over in Portland, the Lord of Lighthearted Team Chemistry is here providing. CJ McCollum did it for Jennifer.
Yeah.
He was amazing today.
Yeah.
Amazing.
What did he finish with? Do you remember?
33, 35.
Yeah.
I'll look it up, make sure.
He was in the 30s.
He was killer.
And Dame had
like 14, but he almost had a triple-double.
Yeah.
He was not shooting well. He didn't shoot well all series, Dame. But it was weird. It's like he used up all his shooting power in the first round to hit those crazy 30-plus foot threes constantly. But this round he didn't shoot well. Yeah, Dame was 3 for 17 today. 13 points, 10 rebounds, 8 assists. CJ had 37 and 9 with 1 assist. And one epic block. A LeBron-esque chase down block.
I didn't know that fucking CJ could get up like that.
He dunked earlier in the game. He gets up, dude.
Yeah. He's more athletic than
I saw a comment after the game of somebody being like, is CJ McCollum the best player in the NBA that has not made an All-Star game? And it's either him or Mike Conley.
Mike Conley's up there, yeah.
But CJ's done it now on a bigger stage.
Mm-hmm.
He's also younger. So CJ...
Has Al Horford made an All-Star game?
The entire Hawks lineup made the All-Star team that one year.
Oh, okay.
So Jeff Teague has made an All-Star game and CJ McCollum hasn't. Get the fuck out of here. Yep. Damari Carroll has made an All-Star team and CJ McCollum hasn't. And Mike Conley hasn't.
All of the Damari, they both made it in the East, though.
True. Oh, if CJ was in the East, he'd made it by now. Conley was in the East, he would have made it by now.
This is whack because Memphis is East as fuck.
Yeah. Well, because they moved from
Vancouver.
Yeah. Yeah. Could they fix that somehow? I feel like they could fix that.
No, because there's 2 teams that you could essentially move.
New Orleans and Memphis are both East enough to be an Eastern team, but there's just so many teams on the East Coast.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well. Add 2 more teams in the West and bump them both over. Seattle Supersonics and give Vancouver a team back. Fuck it.
Vancouver or
split Canada.
Vegas.
No, they don't get all of Canada. No, you could do Vegas. So did you think about the fact that we are going to have Seth versus Steph now, right? Which is like a comical showdown. It's not actually a thing. It's just funny to think about.
Yeah.
Because Steph is so much more important to his team. But the cool thing is that it's in Damian Lillard's hometown. You know Dame's going to bring it in Oakland.
Wait, Damian Lillard's from Oakland?
Yeah, dude, he talks about that shit all the time.
Sorry, I didn't know that.
He always talks about how like being from that's why like when he talks about like when people are like, "Man, can you talk about the pressure of like hitting these big shots?" He's like, "I don't feel pressure. I'm from Oakland. Like I grew up under pressure. This is basketball. Right. This is nothing." Mm-hmm. And so he talks about that all the time, which is super cool and bad. Like CJ McCollum after the game today, they were like, "Oh, where did it come from?" He's like, I wish I could remember that. So it came from the mud. I'm from Lehigh University. No one's ever been drafted from there. It's just so cool. Uh-huh. Like these dudes that just sort of embody that. Like
Lehigh has a fucking really good wrestling team.
That's
why I was like, why
that's why
have
you
I
knew
heard
it?
that before?
Okay.
Yeah. I think
some random school in Pennsylvania.
One guy that I wrestled with in UCF, he actually fucking transferred and went to
cool.
Lehigh for 1 or 2 years or something. Yeah. Damn, I can't believe I didn't think about that. I love the it seems like Dame and CJ like somehow like came together and they were like, look, this is the culture that we're gonna set for
That's what you hear constantly about Damian Lillard, right? Is the culture setter and like how much he provides to the team, not even on the court. His leadership ability and culture setting ability and how important that is to that team. I think that's amazing.
But like, and I always wondered, I was like what does that even mean? What, like him setting a culture, but like, this is like a really small, but like still kind of a substantial example of that. Right. When CJ and Dame both hit like really clutch, like game winning shots, basically.
Yeah.
Right. How do they react? They're cold.
Ice in their veins.
They're stoic.
Dame waved,
Like, they're-
Dame waved by, but
Yeah.
he wasn't like
No.
just today. CJ, no emotion on his
Yeah.
face. Sniper.
It's like
straight
it's
up
like-
killer.
It's like the way that they respond is like, this is what I expect.
This is what, yeah, exactly. This is what I'm supposed to do. This
Yeah.
is why I'm here. Oh, it's so
and,
cool.
and like when CJ when he was they had that, was it game 6 or game 5 that went the crazy amount of overtime.
Quadruple overtime. I think it was game 3 or 4. I think it was game 3.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
it was, like
Anyways,
it feels like it just
after that
happened.
one-
But
after that one, the reporter asked CJ like, are you tired at all? And he was like, no.
nope.
Fucking stoic. Like he is just the most like stone face way to answer a question. He's like, this is what I'm built for.
Yep.
This is what I expect.
They're awesome. Like they're the reason I've chosen to bandwagon with Portland is because Dame and CJ are so likable and
fucking
talented and good and fun to watch.
Yeah.
CJ was cooking today. Another thing I think that speaks to what we're talking about with like the leadership that Dame brings. This game was tight down the stretch with Denver. Denver was not backing down. Denver was up 17 early, and Portland grinded back into the game, and they kept going. And Jokic was great, and Jamal started going early, or I'm sorry, late because Jamal was struggling. But Gary Harris was playing great. But late in the game, when they needed the big shots, Dame deferred to CJ.
Yeah.
Because he knew CJ had it going.
Yeah.
And even though it's Dame's team, the culture set and the belief that he puts in his teammates is CJ apparently in the huddle. He said after the game, he was like, I told coach, flatten them out. This guy can't check me. Mm-hmm. Torrey Craig, the best defender on the Nuggets. And CJ said, I've got this. Mm-hmm. I can take him. And then he ISO'd that dude and he hit a cold step back mid-range jumper dagger. Game.
Yeah, really impressive. It's also like
All without Nurkic.
Aside from like all of these like the cool people on their team, the way that they play, and how fun it is to watch both Dame and CJ, and all of the cool culture stuff, and how they respond to big situations, and how clutch they've come up in these kind of
It's
situations.
a great list you're making.
Yeah. So not only just that, but like all of the just terrible shit that has befalled Portland.
Yeah, Brandon Roy.
Throughout the history of their franchise. Brandon Roy, Greg Oden, they also were the ones that drafted Sam Bowie, right?
I don't know. I'll take your word for it. I don't know.
That's the person that was drafted above Michael Jordan. Oh no! And in between, Hakeem Olajuwon.
I'll check.
Hakeem
Keep
Olajuwon,
going. I'll
Sam
check.
Bowie, and then Michael Jordan. So I mean, they are a cursed land. They've had a lot of really fucked up shit happen to them over the course of the years, and it's really cool to see this team.
Yeah, Sam Bowie second, Michael Jordan third, Hakeem,
Yeah.
Hakeem first. Excuse me.
But
I've never even heard of him.
to see this team fucking come back after what was an embarrassing first round loss.
Yeah, they got
last
swept
year.
by a lower seed, by a 6 seed, right? They were 3.
It warms the cockles of my heart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It makes the jellies feel good.
Yeah.
Detective Pikachu preview. all of, and we haven't even talked about what a warrior and his cantor is. And Zach Collins showing up.
Jesus, man.
And his cantor playing with a separated shoulder through Ramadan. For those who don't know what that means, he's fasting and he cannot eat or drink anything from sunrise to sundown. Hey, how about you go play a noon game?
Yeah. Fuck.
They talked about during the game that he got up at like 3:15 in the morning and ate like 3 meals.
Right.
To try to get his like calorie count up so
yeah.
he'd be ready to go.
Yeah.
He can't drink water during the games. His shoulder is separated. It's crazy. And he's down there banging with Jokic all game.
Yeah.
Zach Collins was huge in game 6 and 7. Huge.
Yeah, man. He's a rim protection.
How about, I think another thing that speaks to it, Mo Harkless was benched in the second half in favor of Rodney Hood. And then Rodney Hood goes down with an injury, which we haven't even talked about Rodney Hood yet, and him redeeming himself and his comeback from his devastating playoffs last year for the Cavs. And Mo Harkless comes in off the bench after being benched and plays really great in the second half with so much energy and great on defense. Rodney Hood.
And like you have all that, and then you have their next opponent
Is the Warriors.
is the fucking Warriors. Like you have like this David versus Goliath narrative that's going to be happening.
Dude,
man.
could you, if they win, it'd be nuts. Could you have a more likable finals superstar representation?
Then Steph Curry versus Dame Lillard?
I was going past that game.
Okay.
Obviously, Steph versus Dame is up there.
Okay.
But I'm talking about finals. Dame versus Giannis.
That's pretty dope.
Mm-hmm. And like in a league that is maybe needs to develop some stars before LeBron leaves. You know what I mean? Before that, like with D Wade retiring this season and Melo being probably done forever and LeBron being near the tail end of his career and all these dudes getting older, maybe it's time for the next generation of even Steph is what, 32 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's time for this next generation of stars to sort of start becoming known outside of basketball fandom. You know what I mean? You can ask any scrub who LeBron James is and they know, but probably not Damian Lillard. Or you say, can you pronounce this name, and hold up Antetokounmpo and they just go, who the fuck is that?
Right.
You're going to know.
Or even if they couldn't pronounce it, they just go, oh, that's Greek Freak.
Yeah, that's a Greek Freak.
You know?
Exactly. Yeah. Greek Freak is a great nickname, but like doesn't encapsulate his personality at all. It encapsulates who he is physically. He's a freak of nature, but like...
Yeah, but I don't think you know that he's a freak on the court. And he's a freak in the sheets.
A freak on the sheets. He says a freak on the sheets. Oh, he's too cute. All right.
Freak on the sheets.
So, Game 6, Warriors-Rockets. This game was crazy too. And we were talking earlier about that championship or bust mentality for the Raptors. Who else has that? The Rockets. Actually, I'm going to challenge my own statement. They have a Warriors or bust mentality. They're so obsessed with beating the Warriors that they kind of forget there's something beyond that, it seems like.
That's why I could have seen them winning against the Warriors, losing in the
conference finals, right? Absolutely. Mm-hmm. I absolutely could see that happening if they had won. But, okay, so the drama leading up to this game was obviously Kevin Durant got injured in Game 5.
Yep.
And the drama of that was this. The Rockets' big excuse, going back to last season in the Western Conference Finals, they thought they had the Warriors done. They were up 3-2, right? Yeah, they were up 3-2. And then Chris Paul got hurt. And they lost the next 2 games. And the Warriors went on to win a championship. And they keep going back and saying, we had them where we wanted them. If we had had Chris Paul healthy, and if we hadn't missed 27 threes in a row or whatever, and then, Daryl Morey will pipe in and say, we were fouled on 5 of those threes and we didn't get the call. Like shit like that. Come to this year. In Game 5, you were in a 2-2 series. And with 5 or 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter, the Warriors lose Kevin Durant in a series where Steph Curry is not playing well. Klay Thompson is not playing well. And Steph Curry kind of looks left, looks right, and goes, oh, I got to go back to pre-KD Steph, and just goes nuclear. Mm-hmm. He dropped like 16 points in 6 minutes or something, and the Warriors win that game. Game 5. They go up 3-2. Uh-oh. But you think full game without KD, without Boogie, their depth is so depleted in Houston. Steph hasn't had it going all series. Klay hasn't had it going all series. They roll into Houston, and if I told you Steph Curry had 0 points in the first half, what would you think?
Wait for the mic to drop.
Sure, okay. You'd think they're getting blown out in a game without KD and Steph with 0 points at halftime.
Yeah, but
instead, Klay goes full Game 6 Klay and keeps them in the game in the first half. And then Steph goes completely bonkers and drops 33 points in the second half. And the Warriors close out the series in Houston down 2 starters.
Right. I feel like there's something with having multiple scorers on your team, right? I feel like it's easy to kind of have the idea in your head that this person averages 25 points a game. This person averages 25 points a game. This person averages 25 points a game. Therefore, all of them are going to equal to 75 points a game.
That's not how it works.
And it just doesn't work like that, right?
You can only have so many possessions in a game.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You only have so many possessions, and you only have just certain people are off, right? Mm-hmm. But I think the benefit of having all 3 of those guys, right, is that
on any given night, any of them
can pop off.
Yeah.
And if a team is trying to game plan around one of them, then the other 2 will pop off, right? And I think that's the benefit of having instead of having this all encompassing, this is how a team is set up and this is what we should expect. You know what I mean? You should probably expect less of each of those 3
individually than they did before. Yeah.
But still,
when you get rid of Harrison Barnes from your lineup and put in Kevin Durant, Steph and Clay aren't going to stay where they were. They're going to have to give some up to Kevin Durant,
Right.
to even everything out.
Right.
Yeah. But it's like it's kind of a crazy thing to think about how much they've changed their play style since they got him. Because you have to. You have one of the best scorers of all time on your team. You have to defer to him and let him play in a style he's comfortable in. So they run a lot of ISO game with Kevin Durant. And then the second he goes down, and in Game 6, you see them go revert to the old, what they call the beautiful game, right? That motion, ball is constantly moving, bodies are constantly moving, hunting the energy of the ball, finding the open man, and believing in their teammates. And who rewards them? Andre Iguodala goes 5 of 8 from 3. Kevon Looney goes crazy on the offensive glass. Sean Livingston played better than he's played in weeks, maybe months. Bless you.
Probably all season.
Yeah, probably all season. The beautiful game. I'm not saying they're better without KD. That's insane. But they know how to play without him.
Well, I think that they're more Warriors without KD.
Yeah,
Is that weird to
they're
say?
more like what they were before they had him.
But I don't think that I think that if that KD, if and when he leaves this offseason, if he does, that it will somehow reinvigorate
Steph and Clay,
Steph
and
and
Draymond,
Clay.
if they all stay. If Clay stays, I think Clay will stay.
Well, it seems like, especially throughout the series,
I think it's going to give them a challenge again, right?
Well, they respond to challenge really well, and that's one of the things that I think made the Warriors so admirable as a franchise and as a team.
They were so bad for so long.
They were so bad for so long, but because they had this in-house development with Steph and Clay and Draymond. And there was a couple trades, but it was never for any all-star in their prime all-stars. They go out and get Andre Iguodala. They trade away David Lee or whatever.
Yeah.
There is something so admirable about that team because it doesn't seem like they should succeed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they were doing something that you've never seen before. And there's this sort of everyman that's fucking taking over the league.
Steph. Yeah, Steph's so likable.
Yeah.
So is Clay. He's just a weirdo. Love him.
Yeah.
And then to balance it all out, they have Draymond, who everyone hates. I like Draymond. I don't mind him. I think he gets ridiculous with his complaining, but I just think he's a super competitor. He's the kind of guy that you want on your team.
I think you're gonna disagree with this, but I'm not sure if I should. I'm not sure if I agree.
If you agree with what you're about to say,
well, yeah, I'm not sure if I actually agree with this thought. So this thought came into my head that I have this thought about the Rockets about how I don't like the way that they play. I don't. I don't like the foul hunting and that kind of shit, right? And I don't like the consistent iso ball dribbling for fucking 27 fucking that shit annoys me. But I'm glad that they exist. If that makes any sense. I'm in a sort of if you're looking at the macro situation of the league and how analytics can drive things and change
have influence
things.
The game.
Yeah. I kind of like having an absolutist kind of analytics driven team.
Yeah.
I'm glad that it exists.
It's interesting. But are we to the point where we can argue it doesn't work? Where you can sit in front of Daryl Morey with as many computers and numbers and calculations as he can bring you, and you can say it doesn't work. I don't care what your math says.
Yeah.
When you get into the thing and have to actually execute it, it doesn't work.
I think that the argument there is that maybe if they didn't have this kind of analytics driven style, that they wouldn't have gone as far as they did.
Maybe not, or maybe they would put Chris Paul in situations where he would thrive more.
Maybe. I don't think you know.
No, you can't know. You can't know. And maybe Daryl Morey would just shoot back to you saying, we don't have the right pieces yet. We need to keep tweaking the team until we have the right pieces. You'll never know until someone succeeds doing it the way they're trying to do it. It's just you can see it breaking them in the playoffs, I feel like, every year. You can see them being so adherent to the habits they've built throughout the season and being so reliable on James Harden getting his own that it gets to the point where it's just too much to rely on. Defenses are harder in the playoffs it's more physical in the playoffs and it gets to a point where you can't just hope James Harden rolls in and drops 45 every game. It's just not going to happen.
Well, and this might be like completely oversimplified, and who knows if they have analytics to fight against this argument, but like it just seems like if you're too analytics based, that you can forget about the human component.
Yeah,
you can forget about, like, you can say, okay, well, like, we're not going to miss 26 in a row.
Yeah.
You know, we're not going to miss 27 in a row. But you're removing the human component of the thing, and the fact that, like, guys can lose confidence in themselves.
Absolutely.
When they
or get tired. Which
tired.
has always been a knock on the perception of James Harden, is that he gasses out in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. And Chris Paul has always been this dude who can't win the big one. And it just continues to get after them.
Yeah.
People hate Chris Paul.
Well, yeah,
people really hate him.
I like Chris Paul.
I've always liked Chris Paul. He's my brother's like favorite player.
Really?
Yeah, Blake loves Chris Paul. Or
he
did when he was on the Clippers. I don't know if he still does.
He's one of the most, like, I think, creative guys with the ball in his hands.
Well, that's the thing, is people will say to you, I think that Chris Paul is one of the best point guards ever, but I don't like him.
Okay.
Just like how people talk about James Harden. I think James Harden's a great player, but I don't like him, kind of thing.
Okay.
Whereas I love James Harden as a person. I think he's cool, but I hate the way he plays. Mm-hmm. But I think he's great. It's just a very specific thing. Yeah.
Right. I do think that the existence of the Rockets and the inclusion of these analytics, like, I think that it will continue to change the game. Mm-hmm. But I do think that, like, it is necessary to have a balance.
Yeah,
to be able to throw away your calculator.
Look at the Warriors. Mm-hmm. The Warriors aren't what the perception of them is. People think of the Warriors and like, oh, they just shoot so many threes.
They don't.
No,
they're just really efficient at it.
Exactly. 3 of them shoot a lot of threes. No one else on the team can even shoot like consistently. Right. It's pretty crazy. And it's like always been like that. Like back when they had Leandro Barbosa, he wasn't out there jacking threes. He was doing the Brazilian blur thing off the bench. The Warriors, especially since they got Steve Kerr, are so good at highlighting their players' strengths and trying to use them to their advantage. He's a great coach. I feel like he gets kind of underrated because of the talent level.
Yeah.
But I think he's a great coach. And I think very specifically he's a great motivator of talent and of people. Like, he's so good. Like, when you hear about the way that he talks to Steph throughout game, like, I remember hearing about this a couple years ago where there was a game where Steph just couldn't hit anything, and he, like, every time out, every huddle, he'd be like, you keep shooting. I don't want you to ever stop shooting. This is what you are. This is who you are. It's going to fall. Yeah. It's like that kind of stuff. It's just so good. There's one other big chunk of basketball news. I don't know if you heard. I don't know if you heard about this, but it's involved in the city we live in.
My ex-boy?
Your ex-boy? Oh yeah, he is your ex-boy. Mm-hmm. So it seemed like a done deal last week that Ty Lue was going to be hired as the new head coach of the Lakers. And then there was this whole thing, which it's the Lakers, so there has to be all this drama, right? What do you know about Kurt Rambis? I don't really know much about him.
I don't know shit.
But apparently he used to be a basketball coach, and he's just considered a joke, like a universal joke. Anyone who brings his name up laughs.
Right.
I don't know much about him. Apparently his wife is like best friends with Jeannie Buss, the owner of the Lakers, and they're very close with Phil Jackson because obviously the Jeannie Buss connection there. And now this whole like mega corporation but a family business thing that is the Lakers is relying on Kurt Rambis to make their decisions, and people are freaking out about it. And a part of that was they wanted Ty Lue to, number one, take a 3-year contract when the average, what you usually get for being an experienced coach who's won a championship is 5 years. Mm-hmm. Okay. You want to link his time here to LeBron. I get it. And I understand it. I get why they would want that, but I also understand why Ty Lue would be offended by it, right? The other part of it, though, that is crazy to me, is they were trying to force specific assistants to Ty Lue, which to him feels like, so, you make me hire Jason Kidd or Tom Thibodeau or whoever you want me to be my assistant so that in 3 years, if LeBron retires or leaves, you can fire me and promote them. Why would I agree to that? That's insane. Mm-hmm. So already that's this insane drama in this coaching search. So Ty Lue pulls out. He's like, you know what? Screw it. I'm out. I don't want it. Honorable decision, I would argue. Plus he's getting paid by the Cavs for another like 2 or 3 years. So who cares?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he got bought out by them. So He's got, it's not like he doesn't have income. He's not thirsty for the job. On top of that, now they moved to, I think today or yesterday. Was it yesterday? They announced that Frank Vogel, former Orlando Magic, but before that, I think his most successful run, Indiana Pacers during the Heatles era. He was the coach of those Paul George, Roy Hibbert teams with like Danny Granger and other people like that. Went to several conference finals only to be beaten by the Heat. And it is announced that he has agreed to take on Jason Kidd as an assistant on his roster of coaches. And the idea, I guess, is that Frank Vogel is going to be the
bridge.
I don't know, maybe, but he's going to be like the strategy guy, and Jason Kidd is going to be the player development guy.
Okay.
Because you could easily make the argument that that's something that Jason Kidd was actually really good at. Mm-hmm. If you look at the Bucks and the guys that were young when he was coaching them and look at where they are now, you could make the argument that he did a great job of developing players.
And how much they actually liked him.
Yeah. Yeah, they still talk about him with affinity. Mm-hmm. Giannis loved him. But you also can't deny the fact that his stratagem was hot trash. And the biggest proof of it is look at what Coach Budenholzer has done this season and changed everything with the same team essentially. And they're so much better. So I can get maybe wanting to say Jason Kidd focus on that player development aspect. And I think Frank Vogel's a pretty good coach.
I do find one thing very weird. I watched a lot of ESPN stuff regarding this pickup for the Lakers and the signing of Frank Vogel. And I find it very weird that they are not talking about his stint in the when they
on the Magic.
On the Magic, they are
they just
completely glazing over it.
Mm-hmm. I don't know how long was he there.
A year. I mean, maybe I think maybe a year and a half or something. Because
so
of the way that
when John Hammond came in, essentially he was like, "Leave. I got to get my own guy."
Basically,
yeah.
Yeah. So when John Hammond and Jeff Weltman came in, Frank Vogel was already hired by the previous GM, so it was new front office. And this goes into the raw deal thing, right? Mm-hmm. So Frank Vogel basically only had 1 year, did poorly during that year. New front office comes in,
in comes Steve Clifford.
Yeah, you're not our guy. Sorry.
Yeah,
it was a bad fit. I understand that the consensus of Orlando Magic fans is that Frank Vogel sucked while he was here. Obviously, we did not do well. Yeah. And
results
oriented.
You
could argue just like the same thing with Budenholzer to a lesser extent.
Yeah, that Steve Clifford
came in with basically the same roster and succeeded, and
where Frank Vogel didn't.
Yeah. And I find it just very weird that that really all they're really talking about is
his Pacers era.
Do I think that he's a bad coach? I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know if I can say that. I mean, obviously he had success with the Pacers.
I know Roy Hibbert let him down.
Okay,
that dude dropped goose eggs in the playoffs.
Right?
What happened to Roy Hibbert? When did he stop being a star on Parks and Recreation and disappear from the face of the earth? Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. It for all the hubbub, right? It seems like Frank Vogel is just sort of a basic coaching hire that they ended up on, right? It just seems like a normal dude they hire. Here's a dude with experience. Ooh. Who knows if he'll be good or not? I don't know. Be interesting to see.
Who also knows what's going to happen.
How long until it becomes LeBron doesn't like this guy?
Right.
But if that happens.
Well, and who knows what the roster is going to look like.
True. The roster might be completely different. Mm-hmm. They could trade all their young guys and get Anthony Davis. They obviously have a bunch of veterans that are not going to be there already because they were all signed to 1-year deals. Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Do you think the Pelicans could get double fucked here? So say if Kyrie leaves the Celtics, right? They're going to be less inclined to go all in for Anthony Davis. I think that's a pretty adequate argument.
I don't know if I get what you're saying, but I don't know if I fully agree with you because Anthony Davis has been the apple of Danny Ainge's eye for years.
That's true.
More than Kyrie Irving ever was.
That's true. But it's not about who do they value more, Anthony Davis or Kyrie Irving. It's what is going to be here for Anthony Davis if we trade away all these young pieces.
Yeah, but a weird part of it is how high are they on all these pieces after this season? do they still think of Jason Tatum long term the way they did after last season?
I think if your value has dropped on Jason Tatum, like it's only because your expectations were so high with him after, because it's kind of like the Sixers were last year, right? Like
they
exceeded
outkicked
their
coverage.
expectations. Yeah. They kind of regressed to the mean a little bit this year. I still think
They exceeded their expectations, and it therefore
Jason Tatum,
changed the new expectations.
like if I'm any fucking GM across the league and I have a chance at getting Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown,
You're taking Jason Tatum?
I would love either of them as well. I love either of them.
But would you love them over Anthony Davis?
No, but if I have to if I don't have Kyrie, and
yeah, so if you have to end up, yes,
year.
he has a player option, I think.
Right.
So if you have to end up rolling out a starting lineup next season of Marcus Smart, Anthony Davis, Al Horford,
Terry Rozier,
he's up too. There's no way he comes back.
You don't think there's any way that he comes back?
After all the stuff maybe if Kyrie leaves, but after all the stuff he said, he seemed really angry.
Yeah, but so did Marcus Smart.
This season?
Yeah, Marcus Smart.
Yeah, but he extended last season. He's locked in.
Okay. Yeah, true. But I still think that like the instant remedy for that is Kyrie leaving.
Yeah,
because Terry would.
Okay, so let's say you have a starting lineup rollout of Terry Rozier, Marcus Smart, Al Horford, Anthony Davis, and a wing. I don't know who. Semi Ojeleye.
Oh yeah, you can't.
We don't know who they're adding. I don't. But you're
Gordon
giving.
Hayward.
Oh yeah,
Gordon Hayward.
Dude, I feel like people are now sleeping on Gordon Hayward because he was bad this year.
Yeah.
But if you look at the history of that kind of injury, it takes a year. So Gordon Hayward could come back next year and be really good. Or at least, an above-average player.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you think Brad Stevens' stock has taken a hit?
Is that a contender?
A contender?
Is that a contender?
No, but if you're the Celtics, you probably also think you're going to be able to add other parts. Like you might have Zion Williamson after that deal, depending on... Or no, the Pelicans won't have a pick that high. Where do the Pelicans pick?
There's no way
that's true. No, because the Lakers are the ones that are going to be able to give that to the Pelicans, maybe.
What? No.
If the Lakers win the lottery. They're going to be able to package
that would be nuts if the Lakers won the lottery.
Don't they have a shot at the top four? One of the top four spots?
They're not one of the top four spots.
I thought they had somebody else's pick that gave them a shot at one of those.
They have their own pick. So the Celtics have somebody else's pick.
Oh.
They have,
but it's like the Kings or something.
They have the Kings pick.
Which isn't that good.
Which is like basically the same as Lakers.
It's like the Heat's pick.
Well, yeah, it's like Heat, Lakers range.
If the Heat win that 1% shot at the number one pick, I'm going to lose my fucking mind.
To get Zion?
Sure.
That's
Zion's awesome.
Yeah. That's your number one.
Would Zion start at the 4?
Why wouldn't
right away? Because he can't shoot.
When's Whiteside's deal up?
He has a player option for this season. So if he accepts that, he'll have one more year. Like the next season.
Dude, I would love for that to happen, dog.
Zion on the Heat?
Zion on the Heat? Fuck yeah, dude.
I said this lineup to you the other day and I lost. Could you imagine the defensive lineup and the athletic lineup of Justice Winslow at the point, Josh Richardson at the 2, Derrick Jones Jr. at the 3, Zion Williamson at the 4, and Bam at the 5? Woo! Athletes. Mm-hmm. Switchability.
That's going to be crazy fun
Bad
to watch.
shooting.
That would be crazy fun to watch.
It'd be wild.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be a youth movement.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be really cool. But the odds of that happening are so slim that I'm not even going to try to get my hopes up about a top 4 pick. I think we have like a 1% chance at each pick, so like a 4% chance at a top 4 pick.
I also think that I think that there's like certain guys that if they came into your type of system that like
Zion would fit in very well in the Heat culture.
Zion would. I also think that Nasir would.
Yeah,
because he could play your 4, right? And I also think that he could.
Was he like 6'9" or something?
He gained a lot of weight this year. I think that's one of the biggest.
Pat Riley will not have that,
right? But
you have to reach a body fat percentage.
He did it purposely this year for UNC so that he could play bigger.
Oh, interesting.
Because they were so kind of like stacked there with Luke May and all of their older guys.
That's weird.
So, I could see him leaning down, gaining a little bit of that lateral quickness back that a lot of people were complaining about because they were like, oh, because he gained weight.
Yeah. That's interesting. I've seen a lot of people link the Heat to Kevin Porter Jr., Romeo Langford. I don't know enough about anybody to know what's enticing. Plus, it's like the 14th pick or something like that. So if you can get a role player, you did a good job. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even though we drafted Bam 13th and Justice 10th
Mm-hmm.
and Josh Richardson in round 2.
Right.
It's all about development, baby. Send him to the jungle. G League it up for a year.
Man, you guys need a 4 though.
Yeah, Kelly's our 4 right now.
You guys need a 4.
If Bam keeps developing and develops a shot, he could play 4. He'd be a nasty 4 actually.
Yeah.
If he develops a 3-point shot. But then we would just need a 5. That'd be it'd be like, all right, you have a new need.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I have like, if Whiteside and Goran Dragic both decline their player options, it's gonna be crazy, because all of a sudden the Heat are gonna be players in the market, because Pat Riley will go whale hunting, and he loves whale hunting. He will talk to Kawhi. He will talk to Jimmy Butler. He will talk to Kevin Durant. He'll probably talk to Kyrie. I don't know if I'd be cool with that.
Getting Kyrie.
He's a great player, but he's like
Where do you want Kyrie to go?
the Lakers.
Yeah, I kind of do too.
Yep.
But I don't know.
Not the Nets.
Do
Don't do it.
Now,
I like the Nets too much for Kyrie to roll in
big
there.
part
and
of me
poison
wants them to get Kyrie, to sign Kyrie, right, and then trade for Anthony Davis, using all those young pieces.
by trading
Anthony
Kyrie
Davis.
away, or
No,
making
no.
a big 3.
You make a big.
Oh, I
three
think
of
that's
Kyrie,
their
LeBron,
dream
and
summer.
Anthony-
That's the
yeah.
Lakers' dream summer.
Yeah.
Signing Kyrie in free agency and trading all their young squad and their first round pick all for Anthony Davis, and being like, well, we've got 3 dudes on our roster and we're a contender.
Yeah.
Already.
We're a contender now. Who wants to fucking play
want-
for us on the?
Hey, Vince Carter, you said you wanted to play one more season, right?
Yeah.
my big dream is Vince Carter to join the Warriors next year, because like get that dude a ring. Get that dude a ring. 45-year-old Vince Carter hitting threes in the finals would be crazy.
Right.
Dunking on people, be nuts. All right, we've talked about basketball for a really long time.
We have.
I have successfully shed myself of Game of Thrones. There's some UFC stuff, some UFC news. So first of all, like last night, Rose Namajunas fought Jessica Andrade for the title and got knocked out via slam. It's nasty. I don't know if you saw it.
Nope.
It's nasty. The weird thing, and this is something that's so interesting about Rose Namajunas, Thug Rose, her reaction was relief.
Okay.
She, like, I'm trying to remember the exact quote, but she basically was like, "This is a weight off my shoulders." And then she talked about how she might retire. She was like, I don't know if I want to keep doing this or not. And she's always had that kind of like, she's very much her own person. You know what I mean? She is not like, she doesn't fit into that world, it seems like, as a person, almost.
Okay.
She seems like too good of a person, almost. Like, you know what I mean? She's like the kind of person that you hear about, like with George St. Pierre, used to be like, George felt bad about hurting people. She has that vibe.
Yeah. Or Jon Snow.
It's crazy because she looked great. The first round, she looked great. And then Jessica when you get slammed into the mat and you get knocked out by the mat, there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
It's just Jessica Andrade is a beast. She's a strong woman. But there's news. I don't know if you heard about it. Cowboy's fighting again. Cowboy just fought like last week. He's fighting again.
Who's he fighting?
In like a month.
Who's he fighting?
Tony Ferguson.
Ooh.
He shot
That
his
is
shot.
interesting.
He shot his shot. He tried to get the Conor McGregor matchup. Didn't happen for whatever reason. If he beats Tony Ferguson, they have to give him a title shot, right?
They should, right?
Or does he just fight Conor McGregor? Is that Cowboys championship over a belt? Because we all know what happens, sadly, when pre-baby Cowboy fights for the title. He's a different person every time. He gets destroyed. It's a bummer. Post-baby, Cowboy might be different. He's been destroying dudes since he had a baby.
Right.
Having danger has made him more dangerous, right? Which is like super adorable.
brought a little bit-
It's such a sweet storyline. Like,
Brought a little bit more danger in the world.
yeah, exactly. Literally and figuratively. But like him fighting Tony is a cool fight.
I like that fight. Tony's game plan is obviously to try and take him down, right? Or do you think Tony is like too much of a gamer to be like, you know what, I'm gonna stand and bang?
One, there's that. Two, don't sleep on Donald Cowboy Cerrone's jiu-jitsu.
True.
Now, Tony is also a very good Eddie Bravo trained jiu-jitsu artist, but Donald can get you.
True.
That'll be a fun fight. The other one, same weight class. Nate Diaz versus Anthony Pettis.
Okay.
Nate's back. Nate's back.
How long has he been out?
Since he fought Connor.
Jesus,
Second time.
Jesus.
Years.
Has it just been money?
Yeah, apparently he's just like,
Yeah.
he has put his foot in the sand and said, I am worth this much.
Yeah.
And hasn't moved on it.
Uh-huh.
But I kind of feel like if he's coming back to fight Anthony Pettis, he maybe has finally moved on it. You know what I mean? They're not giving him Conor McGregor fight money to fight Anthony Pettis. As good as Anthony Pettis is and as fun as he is, they're not paying him that kind of money to fight Anthony Pettis.
True. But who knows if it's like a money thing or if he wants to.
Yeah,
fight
maybe he
that
just
bad.
wants to fight again. He's been out for so long. He's a fighter.
Yeah.
He's a warrior, man. And I don't mean the kind from Golden State. I mean, he is, though, from
He's very
the
much
Golden State.
different than Rose Namajunas.
Yeah. Yeah, the minds, they fight kind of similar, though. Like punches and bunches and kind of like that sort of really just sort of the nonstop thing that the Diaz brothers bring that always gets compared to other fighters. But yeah, 170, baby. It's hype up in 170. It's wild around there. It's a great weight class. Do you want to talk about some... All right, you know what? I'm going to sit back. I'm going to give you some time. Talk about it. Talk about it, Chapter 2.
I wrote it down here so I didn't forget it.
Yeah, so It Chapter 2 trailer came out. I have not seen It 1. I have no interest in seeing It 1. You loved it. You're very interested in It 2. A lot of people are. I totally understand that I'm in the minority here.
Man.
I just don't care.
It's probably like one of the most disappointing things for me. The fact that you can't at least like somehow try to craft some interest for a movie like this, right? Because the first one was so good, right? I think it's like an 84% from both critics.
Oh,
and
it's very highly regarded, and
Yeah.
I understand that.
Yeah, it's critically acclaimed, and it's just so. Man, it's just so well done, and like I really enjoy like when good horror movies come around. Like, do you have any inclination to see Hereditary?
I would rather watch Hereditary than It.
Right,
Mostly for Toni
Is it just
Collette.
the clowns thing?
I don't give a fuck about clowns. But like I know that Toni Collette kills it in that movie.
See, here's the thing. I don't have like a fear of clowns. A lot of people were like so traumatized by Pennywise in the original fucking
way back in the 80s or whatever it was.
Tim Curry.
Yeah, Tim Curry.
Yeah, Tim Curry. It, which is basically like a TV movie. I don't know if you knew that.
Interesting.
But like, yeah, it was 2 2-hour parts that were made into a full length like 4-hour TV movie.
Because it's so scary.
Because it's so scary, a lot of people really enjoyed it, and they had a lot of affinity for that movie, and that affinity and like how good that movie was, or at least how it affected people. It led to a lot of people being terrified of clowns.
Yeah.
That, and I think Poltergeist also had a little bit of it, a little bit of influence on that. But I don't have that. Like I'm not scared of clowns. I find the idea of a scary clown cool. You know, like but you know, it's just like any other monster or creepy creature or whatever. You know, Leatherface, Freddy Krueger. I find the idea of Pennywise interesting, and especially the way that it's executed. Dog.
Execute.
Fucking Skarsgård. I forgot the first one. He's one of the Skarsgårds.
Not Alexander. Billy? William?
Is it Billy Skarsgård?
Hold on.
One of the Skarsgårds.
Must credit properly.
His performance as Pennywise is so fucking good, and it's so fucking captivating that like I want you to be more interested in it.
Hey, you know his name? Bill Skarsgård.
Bill Skarsgård. Good job.
I haven't even seen the movie.
That, as well as the writing, the different ways that they construct horror scenes. It's just
Do you think
super
it is
fucking
the
fun, man.
best adaptation of a Stephen King novel into film?
I mean, obviously, like we bring up Shawshank Redemption.
That's right. I always forget that's him.
Yeah.
Because it's not a horror movie. Like
I think that
when I
would
think
be-
of Stephen King, I think of horror movies.
Yeah. I mean, I like Carrie, the original Carrie. I like The Mist a lot. which was also directed by Frank Darabont, the same guy who did Shawshank Redemption.
You never saw Pet Sematary that just came out, right?
I saw the original with Christopher Walken.
Okay.
And I like that one too.
No interest.
No interest in seeing it.
I just don't care about horror movies, man. Just don't.
With it kind of, because like I feel like you would, if you watched it, that you'd be like, there would be positive aspects that you could.
Oh, I'm sure there'd be stuff in it that'd be like, oh, that was cool.
Because there's a little bit of Stranger Things to it. Obviously,
yeah, it's like, the kids thing, like the '80s kids.
We're getting into like an eternal cycle of influence, right? Because because it's like, is it really Stranger Things, or was Stranger Things?
Stranger Things is it.
Influence.
Yeah.
I mean, Stranger Things was obviously influenced by Stephen King stuff, you know, and like
because of that, it gives us vibes. It, proper noun, it.
Yeah.
Gives us vibes of Stranger Things because that's sort of our generational connection to it.
But there's a good performance in it. There's like really good character work.
Do the kids have the weird orgy that's in the book? Because that is wilding out, and it's completely nuts.
No.
How does that exist? I know how it exists. Stephen King was coked up and wrote a crazy scene in a book, but it's completely insane that made it past a publisher. Just throwing that out there.
Dog?
Because it's fucking weird. That's why.
The world needs some weird.
Isn't it too like about them being adults or something?
Yes.
Yeah.
So basically, this clown shows up every 27 years. Right. And what was cool about the recent chapter 1 of it was that it came out 27 years after
the original movie.
The original,
okay, yeah, that is cool.
Tim
Somebody was like, "This is gonna work great."
Yeah.
And they were right. That's great marketing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It chapter 2. Who's in this adult
so
cast?
I want to
James
talk about the trailer a
McAvoy,
little bit.
Jessica Chastain, Bill Hader.
Anybody that has like any like inclination to go see this movie that really liked the first one, fucking watch this trailer, man. Trailers are like sort of like a underestimated art form.
Yeah,
you know,
no, making a trailer is a very specific thing.
It's a very specific thing, and like it's often like so poorly done. You know what I mean?
It can be real bad,
and it can really influence like your expectations of a film going into it. Right? You know, like I remember
a trailer is like a book cover, kind of.
It's good.
You know how they
example.
say not to judge a book by its cover, but you do anyway.
Yeah,
you're gonna judge a movie by a trailer based. You know, am I gonna pay money to see this movie if the trailer's bad?
Yeah. Well, like a really good example of like a really bad trailer that ended up being a really good movie.
Oh,
we don't know that.
How about Edge of Tomorrow?
Edge of Tomorrow is good. Like it usually happens with movies that. It rampantly happens with movies that are like kind of like hard to sell, or like people don't really understand like the weirdness of this movie.
Therefore, things with interesting, things with unique tones, and they have to try to figure out how to sell them, how to present them to a broad, because you want to present a trailer to be as accessible to as many people as possible, right?
You want it to hit
and
as
you can't
many
always
demographics as possible.
and you can't always show the true character of a movie in that way.
Yeah, but it's kind of the fault of having marketing companies trying.
Dude,
to
that's
make these
so
trailers.
crazy to me. The fact that why do you not just have your director cut a trailer for your movie? It's completely insane to me.
Yeah,
that almost exclusively marketing companies do it. It's completely nuts.
Yeah. It is. I feel like it would make more sense, especially with like the Edge of Tomorrows, right? Like the ones that are a little bit weird. Like I think a really good example, and it's not just incompetence either. A lot of
it's misunderstanding, I think, too.
Well, no. But even that falls under the umbrella of incompetence, right? Like if you're not understanding the material that you're working with and you don't know how to sell it, a lot of times they're like, no, this is how we're going to sell it.
They make like a conscious decision to misrepresent the film, basically.
Right, and a lot of it goes into how they view certain audiences in certain countries. A really good example of this was Pride and Prejudice and Zombies.
Completely different trailers in the UK and here.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah, the one that was sold in the UK like had more biting. It was more satirical.
Yep.
And you didn't like you.
Which I think is what that movie ended up being, right?
It's what it is. I mean, it's supposed to be tongue in cheek.
Yeah.
And the trailer that was sold in the US
it was
is
just
like
an action,
kind of dark
bland,
and morose,
bland
and
action movie.
And it doesn't seem like this sort of satirical tongue in cheek dark comedy that is
which sounds way more interesting.
Yeah.
Never saw it. Probably because the trailer
Americans are dumb.
That's true. Especially on on a grand marketing scale.
Yeah.
Americans are dumb. You have to like dumb
Yeah.
things down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like to the individual, you're gonna meet generally intelligent people. I think
But
people that think for themselves.
this trailer does something that I do like in a lot of trailers, and like they have a majority of the first part of this trailer is just lingering in one scene.
Yes, we've talked about that. I do like when movies do that, when they just sort of show a scene, like a good minute, 30 seconds to a minute of a scene.
And that fucking scene is
Spooky?
chilling.
Spooky?
Dude.
Is James McAvoy in it?
Chilling, like on like multiple layers. I love seeing like different visual things, like when there isn't just one thing that is scaring you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like when there's like a performance, when there's shots, when there's pictures that you're seeing in the background.
Okay. Is James McAvoy
one
in the
picture
scene?
that you see in this fucking the character is looking at a picture. The fucking dialogue
Yeah.
in this scene that this old lady is saying,
Mm-hmm.
dude, I was fucking blown away. I'm so ready for It Chapter 2. The fucking cast is incredible. James McAvoy, Jessica Chastain.
I read it earlier. Bill Hader.
Oh my god, dude.
Is Finn Wolfhard in It Chapter 1?
Yes.
Is he also in this, or is it only them
Yes.
as adults? So it's both.
I think it's going to be both. I'm not sure if they're going to do any like flashbacks or something like that.
Is James McAvoy adult Finn Wolfhard?
No.
Is Bill Hader?
Bill Hader is adult Finn
Interesting.
Wolfhard.
Huh.
Yeah. Bill Hader's adult.
Cool.
Because Finn Wolfhard isn't the leading man
Oh,
character.
okay. That's
in Chapter
surprising.
1. He's like more of like the wisecracking, like,
That's weird.
yeah.
Okay. My boy's got range.
Yeah. and it's good. He isn't there's like two. So aside from Pennywise
Mm-hmm.
and Bill Skarsgård's performance of that, the character of Eddie and the fat kid, I forgot his name.
I don't know anyone's names.
Obviously, but the character of Eddie, who's the kid from the superhero movie that just came out,
The kid from Shazam, yeah.
Shazam, the kid from Shazam,
The one that plays a disabled kid in Shazam?
yeah,
Yeah.
I fucking loved him.
Yeah.
In It.
He's a charismatic kid.
Mm-hmm.
Good actor.
I really liked him.
Well, how about this trailer we watched right before it played before Game of Thrones tonight? The Watchmen show
Okay,
coming out to HBO.
how much do you know about this?
Not a ton, a little bit. I think it's based on a recent comic book release.
So I only know of the Alan Moore Watchmen.
Yeah.
Like that singular comic.
Yep.
There was so many like ancillary things that came
Yeah.
after that, like the different.
Yeah, there's
before
other
Watchmen, I think was
there's
the
other
series that came out
Watchmen
after?
things.
Yes.
None of which are considered as highly as the original graphic
Yeah.
novel, which is hard to do because it's, so universally appraised.
and one of
or praised.
widely considered one of the greatest graphic novels of all
Ever
time.
written. Yeah.
So I mean, even if Alan Moore was trying to,
Yeah, he could have a hard time topping his own thing. Yeah, exactly.
um,
But I do know that I am super into the idea of Jeremy Irons playing Ozymandias. That's
that is cool.
freaking awesome.
That is cool casting. I'm just I don't know. I'm kind of worried. I don't know.
Kind of worried?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know anything about it.
Yeah,
You know,
it's,
I
I don't.
don't
I wouldn't say I'm
feel
worried.
like
I think
I'm
that the trailer seems interesting. Yeah.
Like what I figured that they were just going to be doing Alan Moore's Watchmen.
So did I at first. Yeah, I didn't know that they were
It's
adapting
not-
something different. But I'm kind of glad they are because we've already seen the adaptation of the comic.
Yeah.
Well, like if we're gonna complain about rehashing stories over and over, I'd rather see something new.
Yeah.
Could be. It's HBO, so I'm gonna give it the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah. What's the worst HBO show? The worst thing I've probably seen. I still love
The Rock Show,
Oh, Ballers.
Ballers.
Oh, is that bad?
Didn't we see a clip of it in Jackson? Remember we lived in Jacksonville?
I'm not going to judge it off
Oh,
of
that's
like
true.
5 minutes.
That's
that we
true,
saw. Like,
but it wasn't very good. I've never
It was
heard of
5
anyone
minutes.
who watches it.
Like if you judge like Misfits off of like 5 minutes.
That's
like,
true.
Like the first
That's
anything
true.
in the first 4 episodes that.
Yeah, that's true. Some
wouldn't have
people
an
would argue
adequate-
if you base The Office on season 1 that it's bad.
I don't get that. I like
No, I don't
season
either.
one,
I love
man.
it. I think it's
I
great.
like season 1. I
think
don't know
it's great.
why
I'm
people
just saying
like
some people.
like hardcore Office fans agree that like the season 1 is bad, and I'm like, dude, I like season 1. Like
I
don't
think
understand
it
why you
partially
don't.
it's because it's not. So the Office that we all love is not the British Office, right? The British Office is different. Those episodes
are closer to the
are
British
very
office.
close to the British office. There's some stuff that is directly taken from the British office, especially in the pilot episode. It's like almost identical.
Yep.
So I think that's sort of the split. People, because a lot of people love the British office, and they're like, no, the American office sucks. To them, I say, get out of my face. A lot of people love the American office, and they don't like season 1 because it's a lot like the British office. I think they're both good. I enjoy season 1 a lot. It is striking how much Steve Carell's appearance changes after season 1. It's weird. Grows more hair,
Right.
loses weight.
Do you like? Do you find it like weird that The Office has like sort of grown into this like it has like such a huge.
It's a corner piece of our culture.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I mean, I would say it like rivals Game of Thrones as far as like your ability to like reference it and like a wide majority of.
it's certainly more memed.
Yeah.
It's memed like crazy.
It's probably like the most memed fucking show ever, right?
Mhm. It's up there, and like you can jump into any.
SpongeBob probably more.
Yeah, SpongeBob gets wild.
SpongeBob's probably more.
You can jump into any like YouTube thread or Reddit comment thread or anything, and you just see somebody will eventually drop an Office joke.
Mhm.
It's just gonna happen.
I follow a subreddit called Unexpected Office, which is pretty fun.
Yeah. I watched some Office the other day because I was doing a project for school. I was like, this show's so good. So good. One more trailer that came out. Spider-Man Far From Home.
What's that?
The official spoiler trailer. Have you ever seen a trailer with a spoiler warning before it for another movie?
No?
No way. That can't have ever happened before.
No.
And of all people to deliver that message to Tom Holland, he who was known for spoiling movies.
Yeah, it was cute. It was
It's funny.
cute. I think they knew that.
Yeah. No, they definitely knew that. What do you think of the new trailer? Obviously, they were able to show us a lot more about the movie now that Endgame is out, and they can reveal things about the world post Endgame.
Can we include, can we talk about this trailer and?
I would say that we're in the clear because the trailer's out there.
Yeah.
So if you haven't seen Endgame yet, and you don't want to hear spoilers that are incorporated into the Spider-Man trailer, then skip ahead or something.
Yeah. Skip ahead 10 minutes. We'll keep it under 10 minutes.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
What were you gonna say something?
I was too worried about actually spoiling something. It's actually come up with a good idea.
They are recovering from the death of Tony Stark. I did it. I ripped off the Band-Aid.
It seems like there was a lot of happy, right?
A lot of happy? What
Yeah.
do you think? It's a Spider-Man movie.
Do you remember? Like, was there that much happy in Homecoming?
Yeah.
It didn't seem like there was that much happy.
There's a ton of happy in Homecoming. It's like...
I feel like you're taking out like all of the Tony Stark and then putting in more happy. There's gonna be even more happy.
Wait, what?
Like I got like the I don't know the idea like from this trailer that like it's almost like a buddy cop like between him and Happy, you know? Like I feel like there's a lot of Happy.
Happy the character.
What?
I thought you meant happiness, the feeling. I was so confused. Yes, there looks to be much more Happy Hogan, played by Jon Favreau, in this trailer than was in the first Spider-Man movie.
It's gonna be the title of our episode.
Happy?
It's gonna be Happy the character.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, dude, I was talking about the character.
Yeah, now I get that.
was wondering why you were.
I was confused. Just, why would you think Spider-Man isn't a happy movie? Okay. This is stupid. Yes, it seems like Happy Hogan is going to be a much more important character to this movie.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree with you.
Thank you.
Woo, we got there.
Yeah.
It makes sense, though. Like, they have this connection through Tony.
Thought I was taking crazy pills for a moment.
No, you're good.
Yeah.
Makes sense. I like that relationship is going to blossom a little bit.
Yeah.
It's cute. It's a cute relationship.
And, like, are they going to include...
But if he ever says cheeseburgers, I'll start crying.
Right.
I'll start crying.
Right. Like, are they going to incorporate Tony Stark's family at all? Like, is Peter going to have, like, some kind of, like, weird relationship with Tony Stark's daughter?
Oh, that would be so cute. Oh, my feelings. Oh. Maybe. I don't know.
I mean, they're not going to be in America, so
That's true. That's true. He's going on vacay. You know what's interesting about the MCU Spider-Man? They seem to be making it like purposeful decisions to not be a classic Spider-Man story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even Spider-Man Homecoming, it is that, but it also has this thing with Iron Man that makes it not that, right? You know what I'm talking about? It's got the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man vibe, and things in my personal life are ruined because of my life is Spider-Man vibe, and I have a crush on a girl, and then it turns out, oh, spoiler for Spider-Man 1, her dad's a supervillain. Like that, I keep saying it, and I will continue saying it. The scene when Peter finds out that the Vulture is Liz's dad is one of the best scenes in the entire MCU. That scene is amazing. The tension in the air. Mm-hmm. Tension in the air. I can feel it down in my plums.
Yeah.
But incorporating Iron Man into that movie made it different than a classic Spider-Man tale where he's a loner and he's figuring things out. And he's not a loner. I don't agree with that sentiment that Spider-Man is a loner, but he works alone. That thing in a classic Spider-Man story.
True.
Obviously, he has team-ups with Daredevil and randos all the time. It's part of being a comic book character. But at the end of the day, Spider-Man's part of the core of his character is that responsibility thing, and that he almost takes it too seriously. He feels the weight of the world on his shoulders. And having Iron Man in that movie didn't change that, but it made it a little different, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
This movie is doing another thing to sort of go in its own direction. It's let's send Peter Parker to Europe. I can't think of any time that's ever been a thing. And like this idea that Peter's like, I want to take a break from being Spider-Man for a little bit, and I want to try to date MJ, and I want to hang out with my friends. And then obviously Nick Fury shows up, and we're in the MCU, baby, because we're diving in. Nick Fury's there. I'll tell you this. I think Jake Gyllenhaal is lying.
What? You think so?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think that Jake Gyllenhaal doesn't ever lie.
I like looking at Jake Gyllenhaal. He's dreamy. He's a sweet man. He's a funny man, but he's lying. He's tricking them. But the thing I love about the MCU, right? So that's something that everyone's going to think, right? Oh, that's a weird twist. They're presenting Mysterio as a good guy. He's obviously going to be lying. That's what Mysterio does. He's a trickster with a fishbowl helmet. Mm-hmm. He's a weirdo. But they have the multiverse thing, right? And that's like people are like, oh my God, the multiverse. Is this how they're going to bring in the X-Men and the Fantastic Four? Are they going to use the multiverse to do something? I think he's just lying.
Yeah.
I think he's just going to be like, I came in a rift from another dimension to basically trick Nick Fury, and I think that's.
I don't know much about Mysterio, so.
What I'm getting at is like the thing I love about the MCU is that we will know that twist is coming, but they're going to have something else that we're not expecting, and they always do.
Truth.
Yeah.
So what do you think about like the European thing, like and that reflecting the whole like friendly neighborhood Spider-Man idea?
What do I think about it?
What do you think about it?
I think it's a modern take on Spider-Man.
Well, this is what I would argue, right? Like, what is the most important thing about a neighborhood?
The people.
He still has his friends.
Who's his neighborhood?
He still has his friends that he needs to protect.
Yeah. But I'll tell you this, dude. Everyone's going to know who fucking Spider-Man is by the end of this movie.
Yeah, right?
They're all going to know. Like, the jokes in the trailer, she knows already.
Yeah.
Quote-unquote MJ. Her name isn't Mary Jane. It's Michelle or something, but she's MJ. It's weird. I don't know why they did that. Why not just make her Mary Jane? Unless they're going to, like, do some crazy shit and kill her and have a Mary Jane come in later. That would be wild. That'd be nuts. But, I mean, Gwen Stacy died. What if she just replaces Gwen Stacy as the girlfriend that Peter can't save? That'd be nuts.
I'm excited for it.
Me too. You know who I like a lot? Jacob Batalon.
Who is that?
Ned.
Oh, okay.
I like Ned a lot.
His name is Batalon?
Batalon. Like I was like, so he's from Hawaii, right? He's Hawaiian. Jacob Batalon.
What?
And I was thinking about this when we were seeing
he's Hawaiian?
When we were seeing Detective Pikachu. Okay, hold up. Stop being a dick. Listen. The trailer for that one movie that played before Detective Pikachu, that like super cheesy, over the top romance movie, with the crazy name, something about stars.
A sun is also a star.
That is the most pretentious name I've ever heard. Anyway, like you watch
I kind of like it.
You watch that trailer,
I'm kinda
right?
looking
And you're
forward to
like,
that movie.
this movie is going to just kill with a certain audience, right? There's an audience of people that are going to eat that shit up.
The despicable ones.
The people that go to Steak and Shake at 3:00 in the morning.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm
right. Like you can just tell that movie's gonna murder with a certain crowd.
Trailer really got me. I really want to see it.
But there's like things. So the dude in that trailer says things, right, where you're like, if you didn't look the way you look, you would seem like a psychopath. And I want to see like a comedy take where like Jacob Batalon plays that dude, but he's like super charming. But he says like that wild shit about being like, I'm gonna make you fall in love with me by the end of the day or whatever. Like, did you just call me pad thai joke? Like just weird, like those kinds of like just like romantically edgy shit.
Yeah.
Not edgy in the classic idea of edgy, but like romantically edgy shit that you can only get away with saying if you are super hot. I want to see Jacob Batalon play that dude instead.
I don't think that the pad thie thing is a good example.
No,
I feel like anybody could get away
That's
with
the only
that.
other line I can remember.
If you're correct.
There's one specific one where he's like staring at her soul and he's like, I can't remember. It's just like a super hardcore romance edge line.
The point of the movie is for him to make her fall in love with him over the course of a day.
Yes, in the course of a day, and then she's like, "I'll give you an hour." Yeah, and like, but there's like another line where they're like sitting together and talking, and he says some like hardcore.
Don't worry, we already have it. Is the X?
Yeah, that one, the X, and she's like, "What's the X factor?" And he's like, "Don't worry, we've already got it." And you're just like, "Holy shit, this movie's gonna slay with a certain audience." But like, just imagine like a comedic twist on that character, but like Jacob Batalon playing him, it'd be so fun.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that there's a cracked video on that.
Really?
They might talk about it in After Hours or something like that. But they talk about like how. I'm pretty sure they bring up The Notebook, like how crazy fucking Ryan Gosling's character is.
Yeah, yeah. If you do the things that characters in a romantic comedy do, you're actually an insane person.
Like it's something that I thought about a long time ago.
Listen. I love rom-coms, dude.
Yeah,
I love them.
Yeah, agreed.
I'm gonna talk about one in a second.
I like The Notebook a lot.
I'm gonna talk about a rom-com in a second.
Honestly, The Sun Is Also a Star. I'd see that movie. I'd
probably see it too.
I'd see that movie.
Maybe we throw that movie up on a poll or something. I don't know.
But
it's like so hardcore though in your face with it. It's like this is the most this movie that I can imagine.
But this is something like I thought about, like 'cause I used to watch a lot of Michael Jackson music videos because I wanted to be cool like Michael Jackson.
Okay.
Right. And Michael Jackson in the Way You Make Me Feel music video, he is following around this pretty woman in a nice dress. And him and his friends are just, crowding around this woman, and he's following her around, chasing her through cars, dancing on top of cars, basically circling this woman so that he could keep singing to her and dancing to her. Okay. And she eventually falls for him because he's Michael Jackson.
Yeah. But if you can't sing and dance and look like Michael Jackson,
and I was like,
you're just stalking her.
I was like, this is just a really uncomfortable situation that's been depicted as a really romantic one. Yeah. Because he's so cool. Yeah. And because he's Michael Jackson. Yeah.
But if you can't sing and dance like Michael Jackson, you don't look like Michael Jackson.
Ain't nobody business. Ain't nobody business.
Mm-hmm. Hey, I gotta go to the bathroom. So hold up.
All right.
We back. If you were tuned out for the Spider-Man spoilers, we're good. You're safe. Or Endgame spoilers. Did you want to talk about any other movie things? Because I do have a movie I want to talk about.
Go ahead.
So I meant to do this last week and I completely forgot to do it. I forget what night it was. I think it might have been last Sunday or no, last Saturday. I don't know. We did something. Oh, we went and saw a movie last week.
Okay.
I forget what it was. See a lot of movies. But afterward, like I was just sitting at home, didn't have anything to do, and I was like, I'm gonna watch another movie. And I rewatched a movie I watched a few years ago called About Time.
Oh, okay.
Dude, I fucking love this movie.
Rachel McAdams, right?
Rachel McAdams, Domhnall Gleeson, and Bill Nighy.
Yeah.
This movie is so good.
So like time traveling movie, right?
The pitch of the movie is that it is like a romantic comedy where the lead can go back in time in his own life. So he just says, what you expect is like he just, he keeps blundering up and he goes back and he redoes things better than he did them before. And that is part of the movie. But the movie is only a rom-com really for half of the movie. And this is where I really fall in love with this movie. Because the stuff between Domhnall Gleeson and Rachel McAdams and the time traveling and the courtship and all these things, it's great. It's really charming and fun and sweet. But then the movie pivots and it goes to the point where most rom-coms end, right? Where the guy gets the girl thing. And it keeps going. and it becomes a movie about family, and it stops being about the dating bit, and it starts being about Domhnall Gleeson. Domhnall. This is a weird name to say. Domhnall Gleeson. Domhnall.
It's spelt that way, but I'm pretty sure it's Donald, right?
Really?
Yeah. It's like Donald without the D.
I don't know if that's true, but Donald. I'll take your word for it. I think you say the M.
16%.
I think you say the M. I think you say Domhnall, but you don't say the H.
I think
that's what always gets me.
I think it's one of those weird foreign things where like
don't call foreign people weird.
It was one of those weird
things.
Not foreign things. Where like yeah, you say the M, but you say it like not. You don't direct. I'm just talking.
Okay.
About
Anyway,
so
Domhnall Gleeson. It becomes this movie about like her becoming part of the family and the relationship with the family and like with his sister and the thing that like I knew what happened in this movie and I knew it was coming and it still just killed me watching it again. It's like weeping out here.
Oh, damn.
The relationship with his dad is so good and Bill Nighy is so good. Yeah. He's such a freaking talented man. So is Domhnall Gleeson. It's just so good. I just want to recommend the movie About Time. It's on Netflix if you've never seen it. And if you're like one of those people that's like, I don't like rom-coms, it's like not that. You know, like the cheesy idea of a rom-com, it's not that.
Okay.
Another movie I always think about when I think of like a movie in the same vein of About Time is the one, I'm going to butcher I don't remember the title, but it has Felicity Jones and rest in peace
Anton Yelchin.
To Anton Yelchin. Mm-hmm. What is that movie called?
Crazy Beautiful.
Is it something like that?
God damn it.
If you can beat me, I'll give you a high five.
Like Crazy.
High five. You beat me. Just barely. Yes, Like Crazy, starring Anton Yelchin and Felicity Jones. I remember.
The Tree.
The Tree?
The
Groot?
Tree? No. The third star in that fucking movie. Why are you flicking me off, dude?
I wasn't.
You were flicking me off. You gave me a little fucking
the ghost finger.
You gave me the fucking
the sneaky one.
The fucking Eminem in 8 Mile fucking flick off, dude. That middle finger, the one that looks like a stump.
Oh my god.
Not J-Law, dog.
Holy shit, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
She's his girlfriend before Felicity Jones, right?
Or no, well, it's kind of like after, and then he goes back or something. Like,
okay, similar,
like
kind of similar to Brie Larson is to Miles Teller in Spectacular Now, right?
Yeah.
But then like Shailene Woodley, that's another one.
Larson
I would put Spectacular Now in a similar vein of these
Scott
kinds
Pilgrim.
Yeah. No, wait. Brie Larson's his sister, I thought.
What? No.
Who's his sister in that movie?
Not Brie Larson. His sister's Aubrey Plaza.
Aubrey Plaza. That's right. There's a lot of people in that movie. Mm-hmm. I saw that movie for the first time like 6 months ago. It's great. Great movie.
Quality.
High quality film. High quality film. But yeah, there's like this sort of like subgenre of romantic comedies that are like like there's some of my favorite movies and those all fit in that category. I would even put like the way back in it a little bit, even though it's not. It's like tonality. I would fit way back in there.
It's
even
more
though
of a coming of age.
Yeah, it's more of a coming of age movie, but there's like romance in the air.
Right.
But it's like that's not what the movie's about.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I wanted to mention About Time because it's great. Do you want to say anything else? Talk about anything else? Or you want to do shout outs?
No, we can go right to shout outs. I'm cool.
Do you want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
I can go first.
All right, you can go first.
Okay. So I've been taking like a deeper dive into philosophy lately. Ooh. And I always feel like really kind of like weird talking about philosophy because like it's so like it's like when people talk about like quantum mechanics or something like
dark matter.
Well, yeah, it's like the thing that like a lot of people that are dumb that want to be smart are, and like that we'll talk about, you know.
Okay. So you're saying you're actually a dumb person pretending to be smart.
There's an insecure part of me that like is like I don't want to look like a pseudo intellectual, therefore I don't want to talk about philosophy, but I just really enjoy it.
So you're interested in it. And what is this podcast about? But things we're interested in.
So I recently discovered, just by like searching philosophy in the App Store on my new iPhone, I found this app.
Shout out new iPhone.
I found this app called Western Philosophers.
Okay.
And this is by far the most in-depth educational app that I've ever fucking downloaded in my entire life.
You gotta pay for it?
Free. free.
Oh, hell yeah,
completely
dude.
free. No ads.
Love free
dog.
apps.
And this is how fucking crazy this app is, right? So you can the levels of organization with this app are just insane. The amount of things that like I wouldn't have even thought about and how you could organize philosophy. So a lot of the ways to teach philosophy, they normally go by chronologically and they'll go by philosopher.
Okay.
Right? That's how a lot of like podcasts like Philosophize This, which is also a good. I'll probably
Secondary shout out.
That's gonna be a secondary shout out. I'll bring that up later.
Okay.
Because I also really like that podcast. But that's how they organize, or he organizes that podcast. But this app specifically, so it has like 5 different tabs, right? And the first one is called like Stone, right? Which is like basically the
Stone Age?
No. It's not the Stone Age, but like I don't know why exactly he calls it that, but I'm pretty sure that it's just because it's focused on the categories of the philosophies, right? So like, and in that tab you can go and search by categories, right? So all of the major 5 categories of philosophy are on there. The basic categories of what is it? Fucking ethics, metaphysics, aesthetics, logic, and
Philosophy.
and philosophy. I'm forgetting one, but they have that as well as like politics, feminism, psychology, even and a lot of the philosophers that like delved into these different categories.
Okay.
And the different people that like just brought in different ideas into the world. But so you can sort by category in that sense, right? They also have a tab for topical philosophers, right? So you can go under there and they'll be like, give you all of the people that are like sort of that have had ideas that are just very topical to our current political situations, or dealing with foreign enemies, stuff like that. So like, so people like Hannah Arendt, who I've brought up on this podcast before, because of 8-bit philosophy, like she's on there. That's on like the first tab, right?
Okay.
And then on the second tab, like you can go and sort, and everything on this fucking this app is like searchable. So like if you want to find a specific idea, you can. If you want to find a specific philosopher, you can.
Very
if you want to find
intuitive.
a category, you can.
Really good
right?
interface.
Incredibly good interface. Like it's insane. Like I just kept falling into different ways of like why this app was so it impressed the fuck out of me, right? So you can go into the next tab that basically sorts. You can sort by idea, right?
Ooh.
So like you can go from like the beginning of philosophy and see all of the different ideas throughout all of the and philosophy does get very weird in how like science basically branched off of philosophy, right? Like the first scientists weren't technically scientists; they were philosophers. And a lot of
like Archimedes.
Well, they interacted with each other in a lot of like interesting ways.
Pythagoras.
Like, you're just saying things.
Socrates.
But like someone like Aristotle, right? Aristotle was actually like really had a lot of foresight as far as like the classification of animals.
Ooh, that's
right.
interesting.
And because of his
Kingdom,
practice,
class, family, order, genus, species.
yeah. So because of his the practices of the classification of animals, actually led to a lot of his foundations for logic
And the creation of
becoming
Pokemon.
the basic of logic and the what?
You heard me.
All right.
Pokemon wouldn't be the way it is without animal classification. I'm telling you that right now.
I'm ranting right here.
I'm telling you that right now.
That's fine. That's fine.
It's true.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
I just think it's interesting that something like as influential in like the real world can be adapted into cool, creative ideas.
I agree with you.
Yeah, it's cool.
I agree with you. It's just that you're derailing me.
sorry.
That's why I'm so
sorry.
upset. All right. So, and one really cool thing about that, right, is that these ideas, they have these like this cool feature where it will show how ideas are linked to ideas that come later on in the future.
Oh, that's cool.
Right.
So like this person developed this thought from this person, which led to this thought. That's cool.
And not only agreeing ideas, but it'll have a different color line if it's
disagreement.
For a disagreeing idea, right? Nice. So like you can see, like okay. One thing that I've found out recently from both this podcast as well as this app is that like guys like Plato and Aristotle are actually like incredibly fucking misogynist. They were just like,
I mean,
awful
it was
chauvinist.
a long time ago, so I'm not
And
surprised.
like the podcast that I was philosophize this, he kind of like he isn't harsh enough on Aristotle specifically, because he tries to say like, oh, just because Aristotle thought this doesn't mean that he was some kind of blah 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 chauvinist. And it's like, well, he literally said like men are more superior than women, and therefore men should always be ruling women. But like there's like specific ideas that he had that were like of that represented more of inequality. He believed that
more of a
men
nuanced take.
he believed that men and women should be raised equally. Right. Even though that he believed that men were more superior. Weird. But I was like, I literally like looked up chauvinism. And they were like, well, and the definition is those that have an attitude towards the opposite, a superior attitude of their opposite sex, right?
Okay.
I'm like, that's absolute. He's a fucking chauvinist. Like, there's no.
Wait, so you could be a female chauvinist?
Absolutely.
There's not a different word for that or something?
I don't think so.
No, interesting. I didn't know that.
But where was I going here? So
I
like,
don't know.
So you can see like that idea like that, right? Like that really like chauvinist.
Yeah, that's
idea.
really cool.
And then see the different
People who like disagreed?
the way that people disagreed. You know, so like you can go down and see people like Angela Davis, and see
I'm
how
guessing
they're.
that she was not a male chauvinist. However you say it.
She was a female. She was female. But so
she didn't think men were
so
superior.
you can sort by idea, and plus there's like another thing where there's like a map feature.
Ooh,
right.
So you see where everybody was from?
Exactly.
That's dope.
Exactly. So like if you're like I want to know which of these philosophers are from like
Is there
the
like
northeast part of America.
When you look at the map, is there like a really sad part of the world that has like no philosophical?
There isn't a lot of like people in the Midwest and in the West
of America
of philosophers. At least from that app. There's probably
I'm
a lot
less
of
surprised about one of the more modern countries having less than that, because I feel like for the most part, a lot of philosophy was done sort of before America existed. You know what I mean?
Well,
in a lot of ways.
I mean, it's the thing is like the.
Plus, like, where are all the big Ivy League schools?
There's a lot of contemporary philosophy. Like Angela Davis is
Yeah.
alive today. She's fucking in UCLA. But the thing
Yo,
is,
what's up, homie?
But she's not from Cali.
Yeah,
I think she's like from Georgia.
but I feel
or
like
Alabama. Or like
so do they
one of those, like,
do they
southern
credit
states.
her to the southern state, or where she like graduated school or something?
From the southern states?
So they're credited to where they're born, not where they learn.
I'm pretty sure.
That's interesting.
But regardless, it's still really cool.
No, yeah,
feature.
it's very cool. Yeah.
Now on top of that, I thought
Whew.
not just that.
This app is loaded.
Just that I like just seeing like the just like singular quotes, you know, because that's like kind of like how it's broke down. Like on completely on its surface, it's just these like little quotes. But when you go to a specific philosopher, right? Like so you can see when you go to a specific category. Right. So say you go to aesthetics, right, which is basically the philosophy engaging in like what is art and what is beauty, the nature of
art
of these two things. Is sport art is an aesthetic conversation.
We're philosophers.
Absolutely. We're all philosophers, though.
What?
Anyways, now like you can go to aesthetics and see like the different philosophers that have influenced that specific area of philosophy the most.
Wow.
Right.
Okay.
On top of that, right. So like, say you go into aesthetics, and obviously Plato is going to be there because of his allegory of the cave and stuff like that.
Obviously.
Right. Obviously. So you go into Plato, right. You click on Plato. There are links that are within the app. It doesn't like take you to
Safari or
anything
something.
like
Yeah.
that, right. So there are links, especially with somebody big like Plato or Freud, right? There are links to
Freud was
both
wild.
very wild. There are links to both the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy, which is just like this very huge fucking online resource for fucking philosophy. So if you want to read more about that person as well as there's that. as well as like a link to a Wikipedia page. It doesn't, like I said, doesn't bring up Safari. This is like within the app itself, right? So all you need is like an internet connection, and like you can still read everything as through the interface of that app.
That's great.
Really fucking cool, right? And say what you will about Wikipedia, still very knowledgeable. You can get a lot of sources from it, right?
Yeah. Love Wikipedia.
There's that.
How do you think I learned about all the comic book
as well as fucking free ebooks.
Wow.
Fucking, so if they're I forgot, I'm gonna forget the actual sources of the ebooks, okay, but there are sources out there that collect free ebooks and then put them online. Now if you're going and you're searching for Play-Doh, you're searching for Ford, you can go and see not only what they have written themselves, a Play-Doh, or like what is credited,
and like modern stuff too,
but like fucking biographical stuff that other people have written about that person, right?
all free.
Not only is there ebooks, but there's fucking audiobooks, dog.
Damn.
Fucking audiobooks. And like I fucking sat there, clicked on the audiobooks, and
Started
fucking play it within the interface, dude. And you can pause it, fucking go back and forth, fucking through.
It's the best app ever.
This is a fucking dope app. I fucking
What is it
really
called
like
again?
it. It's called Western Philosophers.
Western Philosophers.
And I highly suggest it for anybody that thinks that they might be interested in philosophy, that just wants to take a little dip into it. It's a really, and it's not just like, it doesn't look very fucking, it doesn't look overly academic. You know,
Can I
sometimes when you
speak
look
to
at
the
a
reason
book-
I would be interested in this app? And
What?
it's just the part of me that's super OCD about organizing things is like, this sounds amazing.
Dog, it's so fucking well organized. It fucking blew my mind.
That's dope.
And what I was gonna say here, it doesn't look overly academic in a way. Like there's like they show like little cartoon pictures, like they look like little emojis,
Hell
almost
yes.
like little like animojis, but they're little philosophers of whoever you're looking at, right? And on top of that, they have like a stupid little feature. It's like a VR feature where like you can do like a little Snapchat filters where like if you want to look like Freud, you can look like Freud. It's a stupid, but like I thought it was like
it's cute.
a cute little feature.
Yeah. It's how you trick your kids into learning philosophy.
Yeah.
Snapchat.
I would highly recommend anybody, even if you're not interested in philosophy, if this app, like, if you're interested in politics, if you're interested in feminism, right?
That's philosophy.
Huh?
That's philosophy, isn't it? Doesn't that fall into a branch of philosophy?
Yeah,
okay.
it does.
If you're
It
interested in
does, but,
feminism,
like,
you're
I don't
interested in
think a lot of
philosophy.
people would be like, oh, well, like,
Yeah, they don't realize that it's philosophy.
yeah, because like I've had that conversation with you before.
I've
about
come
how
around on philosophy.
Right.
I'm still really confused by it a lot of the time. Like a lot of the times if I have a conversation about philosophy, I just feel like it doesn't mean anything. I'm like, what's the end game of this conversation? But I've come around. I understand the validity of it. I get
think
it.
that what you're failing to realize is that like a lot of the conversations and the stuff that you're already interested in is falling under the scope of what philosophy covers. Like when you're listening to Max Landis talk about what makes a good movie, that's falling under aesthetics.
Ooh, interesting.
Because he's talking about what is the nature of art and beauty, right? Essentially. So this
is a philosophy podcast.
This is a philosophy. Yeah, for sure.
Sweet.
Yeah.
We're stupid, but it's philosophy.
For sure.
Let's change the name to Stupid Philosophy. All right, are you done? It's the longest shout out ever. I'm impressed.
Love this app.
Western Philosophers. Got that right?
Yes.
Nailed it. I'm a genius.
And that's obviously, I'm going to finish it here, right? The biggest downside to the app is basically it's that it only focuses on Western philosophers.
Oh.
Right. So a lot of the
Japanese,
Chinese,
Asian
influences.
countries.
So like if you want to learn about like Taoism,
No
Buddhism,
Australia?
and stuff like that. No, there is one philosopher from Australia.
Weird.
But I think it's like
get some Eastern philosophy up in there.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest downside.
Is there a separate app called Eastern Philosophy?
I looked for it. No. It
no.
doesn't exist.
Oh, dang it! All right, I'm gonna do mine now. So, mine is a group of subreddits that I'm subscribed to that I really enjoy, and I just refer to them in my mind as the imaginary subreddits. They are /r, and there's 4 I know off the top of my head. There might be more that I'm not even sub to, but it's imaginary characters, imaginary. I'm gonna look them up so I don't get them wrong. Because these are like, straight up search them. I don't want to get them wrong. Things I'm sub to. Okay, here we go. Imaginary characters. Oh, I'm way more than 4. Imaginary landscapes. Imaginary leviathans. Imaginary
that's
monsters. Imaginary technology. Those are the 5 that I'm sub to. They are basically characters where it's just art.
Yeah.
It's all just art that people post, and they're just like super good triggers for inspiration for stuff. I especially really like the landscapes one. There's just really beautiful art in there. The monster and leviathan ones are cool because they just have dope monsters. The character one is literally just people that are like, I'm writing a novel and here's my character. Or I play D&D and here's my character. Or I want to design a video game and here's my just character design. Just character from anything. Technology is what it sounds like. It's like here's a gun I designed for a sci-fi story, or here's a tank, or so, like just like anything. But yeah, they're super cool. I really like the different perspectives they provide and the different styles of art you see, especially in the landscape one. The landscape one is super dope, and there's really good stuff in there. Yeah, that's it. Short and sweet. Imaginary subreddits, all of them that you can find. Western Philosophers app.
Yep.
Those are our shout outs. I hope you've had fun because we have. Chris and Kyle show. Like I said earlier, come back on Thursday for Detective Pikachu because we saw it and we talked about it and it was fun. And then look forward next week to our Game of Thrones recap episode. See what happens next week. He's Chris Stott. ChrisMichaelStott.com for his website. Check out his scripts. Chris Michael Stott on Instagram. Find me, Davinwell25, Twitter and Instagram. Find the show, The Chris and Kyle Show, on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube, on all podcasting platforms. Do the like, share, rate, review stuff. Tell your friends. tcaks Pod on Twitter. There's a poll on Twitter and on Facebook. You can vote for our final spoiler episode of the month. John Wick, Chapter 3, Parabellum, Booksmart. 2 wildly different movies. I want to see them both. So which one we're going to do an episode on. That's it. We out.
We out. Stay weird.